Welcome to the third video in our series of PHP and MySQL. Looking at the guide that you're following, we have already created the form. We have created a database. As you can see right here, our database, we called it SchoolSyst. So the next activity that you're performing is connecting to the database. So how do we do it? We shall create a PHP file to be able to do that. So you go to File, then New, then we save it as in the same folder where we had created the previous PHP files. So we save it as connect.php and you save. Okay. Then you'll be able to open the PHP tag, question tag, then PHP. And we close it. Okay. So inside the PHP tag, we shall assign the variables. So in PHP, the variable names start with the $sign. So we shall start with the host, which will be equals to, you open the double quotes. Our host is the local host, as you can see here. So our host is the local host, as you can see. So you type their local host, then don't forget to put the semicolon. Then the next variable that you're assigning is the user. By default, the user is root, so you put root there, put a semicolon. Then the next variable is the password, so you can say pass. So when defining the variable names, you can use any name, but you're using these familiar names to what we are going to work with. For example, the host, we are putting host as a variable name. Then the user, which is root, we're putting user, then pass for password. So we shall not put any password. Our database is not passworded, so we are going to leave it open. Then the database that we're connecting to, that is DB. Our database is, if you remember very well, we call it SchoolSyst, which is here. So our database that you're connecting to is SchoolSyst. Okay, so you can double check to be sure that that's it. So that is SchoolSyst. So now, after having defined your variables, don't forget to put a semicolon. So after defining the variables now, we need to create another variable to connect to the database. But as we are connecting to the database, it will compare the values that we have here with actually what is in our server. So in our server, we don't have any password. The username is root. Then the name of the host is localhost. So therefore, we shall create another variable called connect. Then we shall use the MySQL function for connection. So you type MySQL connect, this one, it's an inbuilt function. Then we shall have the name of the host, which is host, this particular variable here. It will be the one that the connection function will use to check this particular host name. So you put a comma, then you have user. It will also compare the user to make sure that it matches the one that you have in the database. Then the password, it will also compare the password. Then you put a semicolon. Then we can put some if function that if we manage to connect, okay, this is the variable, if we manage to connect to the database, what should happen? So if we manage to connect, then we should select a database. So we use the function called MySQL select using MySQLi. Okay, so MySQLi select database, and the database name through the connection string is DB. So implying that it will compare whatever we have here and also look at the variable that is carrying our database name and be able to connect us to the database. So if we connect successfully using these particular values, then we should select a database called schoolsist. Remember, you will be having very many databases here, so this particular line helps us to point at this particular database here using this connection. Okay, so it will check the host name correct, username correct, and the password. Then we shall establish the connection. If we successfully establish the connection, then we shall be able to select that database. So just to make sure that you check whether this connection has been successful or not, we return the values. For example, successfully logged in. Okay, so in PHP you type echo, so the string will be successfully connected to the database. Else, meaning if we don't connect to the database, what should happen? Okay, so if we don't connect to the database successfully, should echo we could not connect to the database. Contact admin. So this is the code for connecting to the database, so we can test whether it is working well. So we shall go to our browser and you say localhost, name of the folder, which is your name, then the name of the file is connect.php. Okay, so successfully connect to the database, implying that this code is working properly. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for the next video where we shall be looking at inserting records to the database.